little kissing partner.
Yeah. You like that?
Don't talk to it.
This ASMR shit's fucking Patreon
I
only.
just fucking hate this shit.
Hey guys, it's your boys Ed and Fletcher.
Too much.
Today we're bringing you another episode of Pocket Cast.
Tell it back.
Today's episode, number 9, Sonic the Classic Collection. Let me tell you, this one was a blast to play.
I just want to kill myself.
All right.
Yeah. Did you know that Sonic 3's music was made by Michael Jackson?
Ah, damn it. I was really hoping you didn't so that I could bring that up.
Of course I know
Yeah,
that.
I figured, god damn it.
It's a conversation I want to have that I recently had with myself while trying to take a nap today. That was a very intrusive nap
Oh,
kind of thought, you know?
okay. A nap thought. Interesting.
They can't all be Chaos Emeralds because they're not all green. Right?
What?
Emeralds are green.
Oh, yeah. For some reason, I felt like you were placing emphasis on chaos, and I was
No.
nothing
Emeralds.
after registered. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the very least, if not green, I think you and I are both intelligent enough to establish that they're one color, not all of them.
Because aren't they all a bunch of different colors? All the Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah, there's like a
it's like
yellow
a rainbow
one and a
of
fucking
them. One of
there's-
the primary colors, basically. At
yeah,
least.
a different number of potential gems in some kind, faceted gems. Let's be specific, depending, I guess, on which game you're playing.
If you haven't figured it out yet, we did not play Bob's game. Is that what it was called? Jim's game, Bob's game.
No, it was definitely a Bob.
I think
it was
Bob's
his game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that turned out to not be a completed game.
Nope. And it wasn't ever like officially released. I think it was just emulated through various distribution platforms.
Well, I think that there isn't even like a full thing to emulate because it didn't even get like finished. Like I think they have demos or something that you could play, or like incomplete projects. But the reason it's famous was for Kickstarter, and he took a bunch of people's money and didn't finish the project.
Nice.
Yeah.
What a fuck.
Yep.
That's cool.
So that is not the game that we chose, and we had said as a backup we would be choosing what is it called? Sonic Classic Collection.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Sonic Classic Collection. Yep.
And it's Ed's first walk into the realm of Sonic.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it definitely is. I really can't think of ever. I have one distinct like Sonic childhood memory. I think it was like a sleepover, and I don't think we played it. I think it was the cartoon.
Oh yeah. I used to watch the cartoon.
Not even enough to even tell you or regurgitate literally any of it. I just remember Sonic, and I, for whatever reason, without ever having really played or watched or really consumed any of the anything content wise of Sonic, like I knew a lot of it, and we'll get into it because I had some very, very misaligned assumptions about Sonic.
Oh man, because I can think of some that you could have just because of what the culture has shifted to slightly.
So I'm at least aware, very much so, that there's a lot of dirty Sonic
fan art
just in existence. Yeah, like the internet Sonic and Sonic aren't explicitly the same thing.
They are kind of far off, I would say.
Yeah, I've only played snippets of these first 4, I guess, games.
Well, isn't it kind of like 5 or 6 though? Because it's
in this one.
Yeah, because you've got Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Wait, is Sonic and Knuckles a different game from Sonic 3?
There's Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And I think that maybe we can come back to that. But I think they're the same game.
Yeah.
But then you have Sonic and Knuckles, which is its own game.
Yes.
So I thought there were 4.
And then there's Sonic 2 and Knuckles.
What?
So I think in that one,
so I
you
think
can play through.
I think the
Knuckles.
and Knuckles is. I think it's the same game. You can just play with Knuckles, right?
Right, with Sonic 2, I think so. And I couldn't remember if they did it with Sonic 1 as well. But I know they had another, besides the third, they had another Sonic game that had and Knuckles. I didn't get a chance to play it, but I just had to assume.
All but the first game. So you had Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and then you had a 2 and 3 variant that were and Knuckles, and then you had just Sonic and Knuckles. I think. And why is because I was reading up and I didn't really understand it, and now that you're saying this, and I didn't notice it, because I'm a half-wit, I don't know. I just didn't notice it. Something, maybe a re-release at some point, and there was something that you could do where you could take the Sonic and Knuckles game and then somehow open a second port on the system or something and load Sega, 2 and 3 in.
On the Sega Master System or the Genesis America side, you have the 16-bit console that is the Sega Genesis. And then you've got the add-on, I don't remember what it was called, but it's like it went into because it's a top-loading console, right? And so
like the 64 was? Like,
yeah,
you mean? Yeah.
And so in that you put another drive type deal. Like it was like a I don't know how to describe how it looked. You put it in there, and then on top of that, there's room for you to put your game in.
Oh, so it was just like one of those expansion cards where it was shaped like the cartridge or whatever. You would slot it, but then it had a bulk behind it with its own slot,
which would end up being it made it into a 32-bit system.
Oh,
and
damn.
So then you also had the attachment for the Sega CD. I don't know which one came first.
Fuck.
I imagine that.
I mean, they did the same shit with like the Game Boys and shit. Like all the accessories that you could get, like the printer.
Yeah,
it's
but
kind of
not
the same
to the point. Yeah, but not to the point of boosting its power.
No, that's fair. That's like slotting a whole nother CPU in.
So I could see it being Sonic and Knuckles was an add-on that they had put in there.
Yeah.
And then they probably released for that. Instead of just getting Sonic and Knuckles, it probably had Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and that was the cartridge that you could put in.
Yeah, that could be.
You know.
But I know it was something that came out, I think it was either at the same time as 3 or it was just Sonic and Knuckles. But I remember reading that like it had something to do where you could go back and play the 2 and 3, and you could replay them as Knuckles if you wanted.
Well, and
something like that, yeah.
If you look at like Sonic and Knuckles with the background, everything going on, I forget what the word for that is. Like the parallax kind of.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, just happening. The whatever's going on in the background behind the actual platform.
It's crazy, like, especially compared to the first 3 Sonic games. Like it really steps up the detail. All the leaves that are kicking up in the forest. I think that's kind of why they do the forest.
I gotta be honest. I'm not even sure if I loaded those because it gives you kind of like at the starting menu like a carousel where you go left and right and you can swap between titles. I obviously didn't realize that there was. I just was like, yeah, we've got like 1, 2s, and 3s, and we got some Knuckles in here occasionally. Yeah. Sometimes he's not there, sometimes he's there, depending on how far to the left or the right. I know that now, but I didn't ever really play as Knuckles.
Yeah, because it's not really the point of a Sonic game.
No, that's true. It's not called fucking Knuckles and his buddy Sonic.
No, and Sonic is fast, and Knuckles is not. He's not super slow, but he's just. Especially right now, it's funny because I just played today. The last thing I played today was Sonic Adventure, and I was playing through it as Knuckles because it has this deal where you can play as Sonic, you can play as Knuckles, you can play as Tails, you can play as his girlfriend Amy. Sonic's girlfriend Amy? Maybe I don't know.
Damn, they both dating the same chick?
Yeah.
Yo, why aren't we playing that game?
I'm gonna let you live with that thought.
I'll Google that later.
Yeah, do that. Per hour.
This is not the approved activity I was sponsored for at all.
But when you're playing as Knuckles in Adventure, he's obviously slower, and he doesn't have it doesn't have it in this game either, which I can't wait for you to see in a future Sonic game, where you jump and hit A and it like hones in on your closest enemy, and you do like a spin ball attack at them.
Oh, sure. Like somebody spiked a volleyball or something?
Yeah, it's a game changer, dude. It makes the game so much faster paced again. Because you asked me earlier before we started recording if I was good at Sonic.
Yeah.
And I would like to say that I used to be.
I was just trying to figure out how much I needed to lie.
But it's like Sonic 2 I feel like I'm better at than Sonic 1. Which is weird because Sonic 2 is a faster paced game. Would you agree with that? That Sonic 2 felt fast? Because Sonic 1 feels almost a bit more like a platformer, a faster paced platformer.
Yeah.
But Sonic 2 feels a lot more speed based to me.
I feel like Sonic 2 is where they were like, okay, so we're obviously not Mario. And we like the platforming, but like, damn, it sure is fun to be Sonic and going fast as fuck. And I feel like that's where they really started digging more into the level design to allow for more flow. Because I feel like flow is a really big part of Sonic with my very grand experience pool. But, oh, God. I am trash at Sonic, dude. Okay, so I thought, Sonic's whole thing is going fast.
Yeah.
And all of the gameplay that I've ever seen, and it's not like I ever sat around and just like watched Sonic gameplay, but like I've got snippets from all over, right? Like,
right.
People playing Sonic at one of the testing cabinets at a GameStop or some shit, you know, just snippets all over the place.
Yeah, YouTube
and so,
videos using it as reference.
Yeah, I don't think of Sonic as a Mario game, like a platform. I never even thought of it as a platformer.
Right.
And especially like, I started with Sonic 1, right, or just Sonic, and oh god, dude, I was struggling, dude. I couldn't make it halfway through. What is it, Act 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Green Hills, Act 1. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a good thing that music's fucking solid, dude.
Yeah, the music is so good.
I'm not a huge fan of like the end level music, at least for Sonic 1.
Oh yeah,
just because there's like zero transition, and so it just cuts into, and I'm like, you really took some badass fucking, you ruined my fucking sesh, bro. But I was struggling. I was trying to like sprint the whole, like all of Act 1, and I'm like, how the like?
I will tell you,
took me a minute.
I do have. So just to cover real quick, because I'm about to dig in. I'm about to talk about something that could very well be opening a tab that leads you to opening another tab.
Oh god!
Right. So
okay, let me clear my active tabs.
So I am all right at Sonic. Right. I definitely got past Act 1, no problem. That's the one where Act 1 and Act 2, I have no problem. Once I get out of Green Hills is when I start to really slow down.
I did make it out of Green Hills.
Yeah.
And
the game really
steps it the fuck up, dude. As soon as you get out of Green Hills, it's like, oh, all right, well, let's go underground and fuck you.
I have this idea in my mind that must be built in from playing this when I was younger, where it's don't jump when you think you're supposed to jump. Jump before you think you're supposed to jump, and you'll stay above usually. And as long as staying up higher is usually better. There's more enemies, but there's less spikes, right? And the spikes are what kick my ass.
Yeah, spikes are. I feel like the hitboxes on spikes are super. I mean, well, where you look at a 3D game and like you can stand right up, like the base of the spikes won't hurt you,
right?
They will in an old platformer.
Oh yeah,
the whole thing is dangerous.
The whole thing is dangerous. Yeah,
yeah. That would fuck me up too. The floatiness behind like just your any movement really, but like especially when you're trying to do some fine tuning on like a platform edge to line up a jump, or the fucking rotating logs that have the spikes and the spiral patterns.
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
Oh man,
what?
That's
And spoiler alert, I was watching the speedrun.
Dude, I was about to ask you if you did, because that is the most beautiful thing.
I'm like, this is what I thought Sonic was.
Yeah.
That's not me. That was not my experience.
No, and I remember thinking I was all right. And then I remember thinking I was good at Sonic, playing this game, realizing I'm not good, but I was all right. I was doing okay. And once I got back and played through, because that's the whole thing, is that you're going to die. And when you die, you're going to have to start the whole game over. And when you start the whole game,
I didn't realize it was a fucking Dark Souls title.
So when you do that, you start honing in those levels.
Well, and that's what I finally realized is, this is not. I mean, it is. It is very much about flow, but it's almost like they basically took Mario and then we're like, what if we had Mario at home, and then developed their own platform to generate what is it, Mario Maker levels. Like Sonic to me felt like Mario made by Mario fans, if that makes sense. In the same way that Mario Maker levels aren't a traditional Mario level, it's using all of the same core mechanics and the things that you're used to, but it's how it implements is creative, and it gets a little tricky with it. I found a couple of hidden areas that are just places you can just go.
Yeah.
There's no wall. I mean, there is a wall, but it's part of that background. But you can, or just places where you can just pass through.
Yeah.
You just have to try.
Yes.
That was, I was very excited when I found those.
I would say with the first three, definitely, there's two different games in a Sonic game, right? You've got the fast, you can just speed through it once you memorize these levels. And then there's you finding different things in the levels.
The levels
going
are
slow.
huge.
Because you're saying that the controls are too floaty. When you're going fast, they're perfect.
No, yeah.
When you're going slow, I hate the controls. The controls are so frustrating when you're going slow.
Yeah.
But when you're speeding up, but like I said, it's two different games. That tangent I told you about that I was about to go on.
Yeah, let's go there.
So back in high school, this was the game that my buddy and I really got. Sonic 2 was the game that we really got into.
Oh.
And that's where I remember doing that, honing it in, dying and starting from the beginning, going and going, staying up all night. Then when we were playing that, I had no recollection of any memory of Sonic. That's what I knew about Sonic, was Sonic 2. And seeing other things, like you said, media and shit of Sonic. But I hadn't really, Sonic 2 was all we played.
Sure.
Then, like I was saying in the last recording, Morgan and I were watching the Sonic movie, and she was asking me about continuity things, or if what certain things are, who's this, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Because what I remember of Sonic is there's very little storyline. You're just running to the right and killing the Eggman. That's it, right?
It's funny you say that, because again, and I don't think I've played or seen really any content from a more modern Sonic game, but I know that the lore gets incredibly diverse, and it gets pretty fucking deep. But I also somehow intuitively know old school Sonic, run to the right, beat up the Egg Boy.
Yeah, save the animals.
Yeah, as soon as Sonic starts once he's 3D and he's running in cities and he's dropping nukes or whatever the weird marriage to future tech, whenever that becomes a thing.
Yeah,
then we get plot and some weird shit's going down. But I know that intuitively somehow. Couldn't tell you how, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So then I've been playing, as I told you recently, I've been playing Sonic Adventure. This is a running theme now, I feel through our episodes. So I've been playing this weird for a while. Playing that has made me reminiscent and recalling when I was a kid and the adventure games were coming out for the Dreamcast, and they were developing more into these characters. And in gaming magazines, I remember there being they had a rundown on Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, maybe Mario. They had Sonic in there. They had a whole page dedicated to Sonic and all of his friends and all the characters that were being brought into the universe.
Taking me back to some Nintendo Power days.
Yeah, totally. Oh. We ended up drawing, just when I was a kid, my friends and I would just draw the characters out of that, and just all these different how we want it, and different type of Sonic characters, right?
Yeah. None
of us ever had a Dreamcast. We were never going to be able to play those games. We knew that was just something cool, that you wished you could and then so you build up an imagination about it. So playing Adventure, been thinking about that. Then I load up these games, and Sonic 3 just brings back this fucking rush of memory.
Really?
Because all of a sudden I'm remembering that as a kid, my family had this whole Sega collection for PC. I had like Comic Zone, I had Altered Beast, I had like Gauntlet. That's not Gauntlet, but it's Golden Axe is like the other big one.
Oh, okay.
And then I had Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles. We had Sonic Schoolhouse or some shit like that. It's like an educational, it's like a 3D educational game for the PC with Sonic.
Cool.
God, there were some other weird ones. I had the first 3D Sonic game. Maybe not the first one, but the infamously bad one. Maybe that's not Sonic CD, Sonic Blast or Sonic 3D. I don't remember what the fuck it's called. But it's like an isometric Sonic game.
Oh.
It's really slow. It's really, really floaty controls. Like, I remember hating it back then and always wanting to like it because of the graphics were really cool.
Yeah.
But it was just not. It didn't carry any merit. I remember playing the fuck out of Sonic and Knuckles and trying to just always getting stuck on it's not a fast game, right? It's a lot more about like platforming and it's kind of puzzly.
Huh.
More puzzly, I'd say, than past Sonic games.
Interesting. I didn't play a whole lot of Sonic and Knuckles in 3, which is funny because going in, I was like, okay, I have to play the first two.
Yeah.
Like, I have to do that. And so I think I went through and made a couple of attempts at basically Act 1 on all 4 or well, I couldn't tell you exactly which ones I played.
Right.
But and then I was like, okay, like 2, 3, and Knuckles, like they look obviously way better and feel a lot better than 1. But I was like, man, I don't know what 1 has a draw, dude. I don't get it.
Yeah, there was a part of me that really wanted to dislike 1 right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found myself coming back to 1 because I like 2, but 2 is like, I've played through this game. Yeah. You know, I'm instantly recalling things. So I'm like, okay, I know what this next level is. And Sonic 3 was just this weird comfort zone. I remember being a kid enough and being like, is there a way where I can like stop the fire from happening? You know, like if I do this before, like, can I beat him before he lights the, like, is there a way to unlock something? Dude. If that, like, just having those like child thoughts about a game and just like what you're wondering of what can happen or where it's going to go. And Sonic 3 just was a great nostalgia blast for me. I absolutely loved it. But
Dude,
then,
that's awesome.
Like you said, though, Sonic 1 really pulled me back in.
I wanted to
go further.
Yeah, and I lost that like feeling of indebtedness. I wanted to be better. I wanted to explore the levels. I wanted to, because I definitely wasn't going to do a lot. I was like, get to the end, that's it. But obviously the restart mechanic, like once your 3 lives are up, it's annoying as fuck. But then it does force you to be better because you're just having to redo the same levels over and over, But I just had a really good time with 1. Didn't beat it. I really, really wanted to say that I did.
Yeah, I didn't beat any of them, honestly. Yeah, no. But they're hard games. Like, you really have to sit down, and if you're trying to play all 3 of them, you're not going to beat one of them.
Yeah.
Because you have to just be sitting there and memorizing. Because when Joey and I were playing through that shit in high school, it's not like it was one night that we played that. It was like continuous nights and weekends that we would be like, yep, we're doing Sonic.
This is what we're
summer,
doing,
so we were like, this summer we're going to beat Sonic,
We've talked about like that nostalgia of, growing up and the time that we did and how obviously different the video game industry was. But God, I was thinking about it while you were, kind of talking through your stuff there and reminiscing.
Yeah.
And just that pure realization that like we were baby stepped through what is possible in video games. And so every time there was a new something, anything, it just sparked, and like you witness it for the first time, you're like, you can do what?
Yeah.
Like, and I think I've mentioned it on here, playing, I think it was Donkey Kong Country 1 or 2, on the Game Boy Color. And like that first, I don't even remember which level it was, but like
It's the very first level when you go
Is
back
it?
to the left. Is that what you're gonna?
Yeah,
talk
you
about?
just it starts you in, and then instead of running to the right where the level is, you just go to the left, and there's shit back there. And I had played through the game like a few times at that point, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then, you know, and I think that's one of the reasons why I like Zelda so much. It formulated that and still kept it under the hood. Because you can go from Zelda. I mean, if you're a Zelda player, you're good at puzzle games.
Yeah, on some of them I would agree with you. I would say some are easier
I'm not
in some
necessarily
games,
saying
right?
you're good at puzzles. I like what I'm talking about. What doesn't transfer to a Professor Layton game,
right?
But in terms of like how various kinds of puzzles are presented in video games, you see a cracked wall, I can probably destroy that. You know, shit like that,
Okay,
right?
I get.
It instills this.
You're good at puzzles within the game universe.
Yeah,
Like,
when puzzles are given to you in games, not necessarily games that are of puzzles per se.
sure.
Zelda sets that foundation. And like I've played with people, like I've watched people play through like a newer-ish Zelda game, and they're like, they're just walking past everything, you know. And I'm like, I want you to be able to experience this and come to these realizations on your own, but this thought will not occur to you because forest for the trees type thing, right? Like they don't know that that's something they're looking like. It just looks like an aesthetic choice.
Yeah.
And you're like, every other wall uses the same two textures, and that's the only one that you've seen, and it's different. Fuck it up. So, but like just just thinking like, you know, kids right now growing up with Fortnite, they don't give a shit about blowing up walls with bombs. They like by the time their brain recognizes a rectangle, they know how to use an iPad. In fact, it's probably the reverse. They probably know how to use an iPad before they know what the shape is, right?
Right.
And so it just so much passive knowledge that's taken totally for granted because that like you have a passing understanding of all of these really complex things before you can even conceptualize what they are. Which is now I'm now super deviating into like just like talking about the wonderment of being a child, and I'm so fascinated by it. But you know, just all of those things they're just blips. They're just blurry blips, you know.
Yeah.
That aren't ever really recognized. And I'm not saying you have to in order to enjoy or any, you know, I'm not gatekeeping any bullshit like that, but it just, I mean, that's a cool thing. And like, I felt so much of that, I think, in the first Sonic game when I'm speculating that might be part of it for me, but yeah, there's just some cool shit. And like every time I would do something and it would produce a different result, or like, I now know they're called Chaos Emeralds, but like when you get to the levels to get them,
yeah,
I thought it was just like some bonus because like I played through a few times and never got it.
Yeah.
And then I got it like back to back, and I'm like, what is the criteria to fucking be able to do this? I still didn't figure it out.
I still don't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I've never understood in my life, not once.
But
the blue spheres, I understand that one.
The blue spheres?
Is that maybe just Sonic 2?
Oh.
Or maybe I thought it was Sonic 1, where there's the blue circles in front of you when you're in the bonus stage, and you just have to touch them, and if you touch them, they turn red, and you can't touch the red ones again. So I believe with that one, you just
as far as like once you're in the level to get them? Like
yeah.
To get the
you understand
I mean
the
just,
criteria.
I mean just landing
bonus.
in the bonus level.
I believe it has to do with the amount of coins that you have or rings that you have at the end of the game, or when you go through a checkpoint. Maybe that's the third one.
Yeah, you already know I was walking over the line with like 3 rings.
Oh, dude, me too.
So.
There's only a couple times where I got to go to the puzzle or not the puzzle, the bonus zone.
The first couple of times I made it to like the bonus stage, I was like, "The fuck are we doing here?" I was like, "What is this, monkey ball?" Like,
oh yeah, because then there's one where you are like a pinball in that
and the map rotates
rectangle thing, and there's the seizure machine in the background.
Oh god, yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I bet you had a blast with that.
I don't
just
even
do it with your eyes
I've
closed.
played the games enough, I guess, that like it doesn't bother me, but
that's funny.
It was a wild trip to be playing through some of those games and being like, man, I used to be so much better at this, and I can remember being better at this, but also I was a child, so there's no way I was actually better at this.
No.
The fucking water level on the third game, it's a second level, isn't it? If you got past the first level.
I don't think I did, to be honest with you.
The second level is a water level. Well, how fucked up is that?
It's pretty fucked up, dude. And,
Like, well, it sets the tone. Spider-Man. This is fucking... Sonic games set the tone for water levels, I feel like. I'm sure there's games before that anyone could quote, but...
What is it about water, though, that, like...
You have to change the controls, right? And when we're talking about older games, when it comes to changing the controls, there's probably not a lot of options to what you can do.
Well, and I mean, you either go with what's been done or you have to radically, reconceptualize the whole thing and come up with something totally new without changing how you do it, really.
At least in Sonic, I believe, 2 and 3, when you're in underwater, because you can, no matter which one, I believe, you can run out of air. Sonic 3, I know for sure you can get air bubbles. They like come out of these vents in the bottom.
Oh, hell yeah.
But you also have Tails following you, right? So you take it and Tails fucking dies.
Oh damn, that's fucking brutal, dude.
Yeah, it's
oh shit, that's hilarious.
But talk about anxiety and stress. That is Sonic in a nutshell, because that feeling, the noise, and seeing all of your rings disperse around you and so quickly disappear.
And you have a couple of seconds to grab as many as you can, and like without also fucking yourself up and dying because you're trying to risk it for the biscuit, you know. I will say, like, the health system.
How do you feel about it?
I think it's clever as fuck. Nobody was doing Call of Duty shit where you just like your HUD changes and it, uses a lot of passive cues. And granted, you can see how many rings you have, but like first playthrough, that's not something you are going to pick up on very likely.
No, you're right. Nothing
but then
is explained.
Almost immediately, because like if you get double hit after losing your rings, you die.
Yeah.
And then you run over one of them, you lose a ring.
Yeah.
And it's clean, man. It's super clean. I never really thought about how little I had to think about that to really grasp onto it. And I thought it was pretty clean. It was really cool. Super simple, too. Super fucking annoying. All you have to do is pick up one more ring, but I swear to God, in a pinch, there are no fucking rings.
There's no rings, and you're running for a while, and you're not seeing any rings, or you're missing them, and you're just like, I just need one, man.
Dude, there is nothing.
I'm so close to the end.
Nothing quite compares to that panic and just the sheer anxiety that's just like choking you out as you're fucking running around naked, no rings. Like, dear God, please, anything, just give me a ring.
Yeah, just wait till you get to a water level. Man,
oh, dude.
Fuck, it's even more anxiety inducing. Yeah. And they have this countdown timer of like the fastest 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown you've ever fucking seen in your life. And you gotta find a bubble, or you gotta try and get up out of the fucking water to get some air. Oh, I hate it, because it's a water level, so like you're probably near the end as you're going to be running into these things, and you do get into like stage 2, you run into it where it's like you have to keep going and go fast and hit the fucking bubble under there to get your breath of air, and just keep going, and then you're going to pop up for a second, get some air, and you're going under for a fucking while again. And it's just, oh man, I can't tell you how stressful it is.
Have you ever played I played it as a mobile game, but I think now it's all over. You can play it on pretty much anything if you want. It's like Geometry Dash or the Impossible game or some shit like that.
Yeah.
You're like I think a cube.
Cube jumping.
Yeah, and you jump, and it's that principle of fuck you. You have to do this 1,000 times, and it's almost a memorization thing at that point.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Mario's that too.
Yeah, and these are certainly not quite to that extreme. I don't think.
No, I mean, because you've got multiple paths you can do and things like that.
Yeah. It's addicting, because I mean, as long as it's not an immediate turn off, because I feel like there's really not a gray area probably for most people with something like this. I feel like you either like this shit gets you going and you're like, oh, I'm challenged and I'm I want to do better and I want to be good at this, or you're like, I don't have fucking time for this. Like I got fucking governments to run or something,
Yeah, and I think it's everyone has maybe a different thing like that, because it's kind of like a best time thing, or it's if you're the type of person that likes to beat yourself at something. Because when you think about surfing, you and I've been addicted to surfing. Just we fucking love that shit, right? And that's a game where you're riding on ramps, trying to go from the beginning to the end as fast as you can. And you're really usually, by the time you're on a server and you can see what the server best time is, you're like, I'm not gonna.
No, I'm never
gonna be able to touch that. But I can finish this, and then I can keep. I'm gonna have to play it through, right?
Yeah.
And then I want to have to keep playing it through to be able to finish it again and hopefully beat my best time. And there is just something. I feel like everyone has that too. Best time, high score, low score if you're like a golfer, you know. But that's another game where a lot of it you're playing against yourself. There is no other person. There's no one messing with you when you're hitting. There's no one messing with you when you're. And Sonic is different in that a little bit, and some games are where you have things attacking you. But there's plenty of other games. I mean, speedrunning in general. That's what speedrunning is, right? Is that want to beat it better than your best time.
Yeah.
And potentially some other people's. And there is something I agree, so addicting about that. And if you don't have that kind of mindset, which I think everyone does about something, but it may not be.
Might not be Sonic.
Or a game.
Or video games.
Yeah. It could be real racing.
Oh, shit. It could just be your career, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Literally anything.
There's a book I had been reading about how basically like using your mind, flow. It's called Flow, and it's about accessing that
I've heard you
flow
talk about
state.
it before.
And it talks about this guy who was working this job that someone else had worked, and they're comparing their two experiences with the job. And this one guy who seemed to enjoy his life a lot better had a harder job, but he had made a challenge out of himself, knowing he could put this like, let's say, vacuum motor piece together. The required time is we need you to make each piece in 30 seconds on this conveyor belt in order for everything to come out well. But he started trying to beat his own time because he's already beaten that time.
Sure.
And he'd gotten to down to say 20 seconds or 19 seconds. And they came to him and said, you need to slow down.
Yeah.
Because you're messing up the rest of the line. No one else can keep up. And so then he's now limited. So once he became limited right there, he ends up going and finding another job. So now studying while doing this is its own challenge. And he's trying to still compete with his own time.
Well, and even just getting into flow. And just there is something immensely pleasurable and satisfying about just being a powerful version of yourself in any form. And that could just, and
that hypnotic state that you can get into.
Dude, I would fucking kill myself now. But dude, when I worked in McDonald's, last couple years of high school, man, when we were getting our shit hammered, I fucking loved that shit.
Yeah.
You just, everyone's eyes down, just busting shit, working as a oiled machine, just pumping shit out. And it just...
It's going so smoothly.
Damn, it's so satisfying.
It is. And it flies by, and like you said, you're not even talking. And maybe eventually you are, but normally if you're really in that flow, you're not talking. Everyone's just working without even needing communication. It's like
hive mind shit almost. Because especially when you're working with a good team, and that I think is even a step above what we're necessarily talking about in terms of individual flow, but team flow, bro.
Yeah.
There's so much nonverbal communication that happens, and that for me, whenever I'm in that and just being able to take a step back and look objectively at, bro, big hard on for life. It's some fun shit, and I have to get into that mindset in order to enjoy the tedium, especially if it's monotonous.
Absolutely.
But if I can break something that's tedious down into individual steps, I do the exact same thing. I turn it into a speed run, and I'm lapping myself at each, whatever arbitrary point that I've, broken this larger task into its subtasks, and I'm just busting it out, looking for efficiencies, trying to improve, trying to better, which is hilarious because secondary to that entire thing, I do that a lot professionally. I'll take a garbage task that I have to do all the time, and I will make it so fucking efficient. But just for that thing, my entire day doesn't get any more efficient. I'm not, just because I can do this thing more quickly doesn't mean I'm mass producing them in volume. My quality of work stays the same. take more breaks. But yeah, Flow's pretty cool.
Flow is super cool, and I think you're on a really good point there of like that's the attraction of Sonic.
I think you're absolutely right.
I think this port kind of could mess with you at times, because I noticed, and I've seen a few review comments about it where it's like when you're starting the game, it has an FPS lag, and then as you get further in, the FPS lag seems to go away.
Yeah,
but there is something really intrusive. Well, and also the screen size is a bit smaller than what you get on, like, as far as like seeing ahead of you. You can't see as far ahead of you in this version of it as you can on the Genesis version. Yeah.
I mean, I feel incredibly justified.
Yeah.
By knowing that now, which is fucking awesome. Thank you for that.
And that might be why it feels like it's like forcibly slowed down at times. Did you ever get that feeling?
Yeah, no, I felt like sometimes the game was fast when it didn't have to be, and then when it needed to be, sometimes it wasn't there.
Just chugging. Yeah, I ran into that too.
And I remember thinking like, well, hang on, like this is an old game,
but a famous old game.
Old game, like, and I like, because games didn't have performance issues like that back then, because they were just like, this is what we can do, and it will do it, but this is all we can do.
Yeah.
And, where they're not like, I don't need to stress on that further. So it's weird to play a game like that and, like, like you said, get like a lag. You're like, what?
Yeah, especially on the DS. You're like, this can play a Mario 64. Yeah. Give me full throttle Sonic. Pull it out a little bit. I don't care if it's a little smaller. I can fucking deal with. I'll just put a dark outline around Sonic or something. Like that's.
Yeah, fuck it.
I'll do.
Yeah, that did kind of stink. I mean, I wish I could say that it really was like.
Cumbersome.
It's like I wasn't good enough for it to be that. Yeah, no. Maybe I've told you this story before, but like I think the first and only time I've ever been snowboarding, I did. Oh, dude, I balled out for it. Did a whole like class and everything, but it was like a class of like 40, 45 people, and like I was by myself. And they stuck me in the back, and I couldn't hear the guy, and I gleaned nothing from this class. And everybody's got to go down the bunny hill at the end, right?
Yeah.
And I think I sprained my ankle getting off the lift, and then I'm like, dude, this is huge. This bunny hill is insane. Like, I can't do this.
How old were you?
14 or 15 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. So not like 6. That might be a better. No, I ended up inchworming my entire way down the whole bunny hill, and that's it.
When you say inchworming.
Okay, so my board is strapped to both feet. Mm-hmm. I am on my belly, and I have my hands like they're ice picks, just like wedged into the snow, and then I would like extend myself up, anchored by my hands, and then I would like just like whale kick my board into the snow, and then I would like pull my hands out, inch down, chunk, and it took me a long time, dude, to get all the way down there. And
why did you just go for it?
I was scared, dude. I was so scared. Dude, I was more than scared. I was terrified.
I have never been snowboarding. I've been skiing once, and I think I was like anywhere from 6 to 10.
In my defense, you've skateboarded.
That is true. That is very true. Yeah. So I feel like I would just go down, and then if I'm going too fast, I'm going to kick my right foot out. But I also know that snowboards work way different than skateboards, so I probably
know
launch
that they
myself
do,
into
and even
the fucking snow doing that.
Yeah, even now I couldn't really tell you the difference.
I feel like either way, especially at 14, 15, I'm gonna fucking go for it. It's just I'd be way too embarrassed to do that.
Oh, the embarrassment was.
It would not be worth it for me. I would rather the physical pain than the embarrassment that comes with that.
See,
because there are children.
I was beyond that point of rationalizing, like, all day, 100%. The pain of falling over, coming down that bunny hill. Jesus, minimal.
Yeah.
Fucking minimal. Yeah. Not scared of that at all.
Yeah, little kids go down there.
Heights. I now know. Heights.
I remember that being my issue too. Was I disliked the ride up more than the ride down. The ride down,
I definitely did not like the ride, but I felt secure in the like in the basket with the gondola, whatever the fuck they're called, the lift.
Because the gondola's enclosed. The lift, you're just on the bench.
Yeah, I thought a gondola was like an upside down parasol.
No, a parasol, like the
fancy umbrella.
Thing? No, I think a gondola is literally just like an enclosed, like it's like an oval shaped lift.
Damn, all I can see is Willy Wonka's elevator.
Long time up the.
Yeah, you're probably right because I have zero confidence in what I'm talking about. So
I could totally be wrong. I also for a long time thought that gondola was the thing that you were like rode down the mountainside. You know, they've got those like it's like a luge like those type deal, but you're sitting up on it, and you've got like a little hand crank control thing in the middle.
They got like carts on like a rail system.
I don't know if I don't think it's a rail system. It's like a tiny little.
You've
like,
got ones that like have wheels and it's like a half pipe, but like a small one. Yeah. Okay.
And I don't know what that's called, but I always thought that's what a gondola was for a long time.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. Yeah. No. Fuck, that's really going to bother me.
I'm a kid from the Midwest. It's fine if I don't know what a gondola is, but you're from Colorado. You lived in Colorado long enough to know what a gondola is.
Boy, I was sheltered AF.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
I never played a Sonic game.
Skiing and Sonic are fucking sinful things. They got the 3 S's. So the music we were going to talk about.
Dude. Again, the hidden nostalgia that I didn't realize that I had available to me in the form of what is Sonic, like, dude, the music.
The music kicks, dude.
Oh, it fucking goes hard, dude. It's so fucking good.
So I take it you did a little bit of research because you knew about Michael Jackson.
I did. I did some poking around.
He's not credited, as I recall.
Uncredited. I didn't really look into what happened, but I know I got the impression that they were talking about it and they did do some stuff. Either he did it and like submitted it to them or they worked in it in collaboration. I have no idea. But he did leave the project and remains uncredited.
As I recall, they had to get rid of, or they lost. I don't know how it happened, but the composer from the first 2 games wasn't able to do the 3rd game.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a copyright issue. I don't remember what it was. And then they had wanted. Yeah, I don't remember I don't remember if they wanted Michael or if Michael wanted to do it for them. But either way, they did hook up with him. And then I think it was something where like they couldn't afford him because of this. He had like just signed on to some label or like some shit like that, and so he had to go uncredited in order to use sense.
Because I feel like I read that he did do some work and then they had that, and some of it's in the game, but it sounded like they redid.
But if you listen to Sonic 3, when you're playing, if you stop, it's like you can definitely hear the Michael Jackson influence for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And also, like reading that, I was, what? Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
I mean, one, like my brain, because again, like my Sonic information is just floating. I don't know where it's coming from. So it's not for me, like all these nostalgic memories that I don't really.
I think like Sonic was pinpoint. Huge, right?
Well, it was huge. It was everywhere, and I remember growing up and thinking, because you had such a massive division in terms of like if you're playing this platform, this is what you're playing, right? There was no blending unless you had a rich family or your parents were divorced.
Yeah. Damn, man, those kids really made it out. I wish my parents would have been divorced.
Yeah, it was huge, but it was just the other Mario. Like, it was the Mario if you had Sega.
Yeah,
right? Like,
absolutely. Sega had a few platformers before Sonic that were a bit slower and much more along your regular basis. This is when they really they went on the map. So I could see though some adult musician dude in the fucking studio
banging around,
especially Michael. Very childlike.
Oh, okay. I was like, did he publicly have like
Well, I mean, he
thing
like
for Sonic games?
first there's the joke about the fact that he's allegedly molested a bunch of kids, and then
Of what kids?
I said just a bunch of kids. I was gonna say children, and then I said kids.
Oh, kids. Gotcha.
Yeah,
you
chick
said like
kids.
chit kids, and I was like, what's a chick kid? I'm so disconnected.
Couldn't tell you. And then, but just the fact that also like he didn't grow up because he was like working all the time.
Right.
His youth. So he's one of those people that were just like kids through
Gotcha.
like, as adults.
No,
so you could totally see him playing some Sonic and be like, "Yeah, guys, I would really love to make some music for you." Like that would make so much sense to me.
Oh.
Yeah, my kids showed it, and I just really love it.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, you've got when you see those big name actors in a video game or like a kid show or something like that, you're like, that's either A, because they just really love doing that shit, or B, their kid is like, I want to see you in a show, or like they want to do something to show their kid, like, hey, look, I'm in that show. Like,
Dad, I really like Paw Patrol.
Fuck you, man! I made Backyardigans. Paw Patrol. I watched the Paw Patrol could fucking run and kick a bunch of black people in the head.
Gee, okay.
Boot licking dogs.
What?
Because they're cops. They're cop dogs in Paw Patrol.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I
okay.
mean, if there's like a cop one.
I thought you
like
were just
firefighter.
suggesting that the creators of Paw Patrol had some like message underneath. They're just like, we make this really fun kids show, and we really hate minorities.
Yeah, that's Peppa Pig.
That's
sure. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Fucking.
I always pegged Peppa Pig as a
fascist,
a champion of the fucking.
You can't be a pig and not be thought of as a fascist. You know.
But
so
what if
Orwell did that, and you can't undo that.
What about Babe?
Fascist.
Charlotte's Web?
Dude, the most fascist.
Oh, shit.
Think about it. The spider gets killed.
It's a spider.
But the spider gets killed. Yeah. The pig doesn't. The pig benefits from everything the spider does.
Yeah,
and then
but
the
pig
spider
didn't
dies.
influence the. Okay, but let's. Okay, you want to talk? You want to do this? Let's dig
right,
into
bring
it.
Me up other pigs.
The pig exists to die.
The pig doesn't die, though.
It will.
It will, but
they're
not
not
in
keeping
the
this
context
pig
of the
because
film.
it's a beloved
Babe,
member of the family.
Babe. They kept Babe alive.
Yeah. Is it because Babe influenced them?
I mean,
what was Babe? What was going to happen to Babe if he wasn't rescued by the family?
I have no memory of Babe.
It was going to die. They were. I think. Okay, if I remember correctly, and
I don't think you were allowed to watch Babe.
100%.
It had talking animals.
100%. Dude, don't. I don't understand why one was and one wasn't. Okay, allowed. I don't know. I don't have the answers for you, but I can tell you that I have watched Babe a few times.
Babe talk.
The pig?
Yeah. Did he talk to other animals?
The animals would talk to each other.
The animals just talk. Yeah. He didn't talk to like the humans.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. No. I don't. Fuck.
But did the pig get better treatment than the rest of the farm animals?
I mean, Babe? I think Babe was like the baby brother to like the whole thing. Like he was like the cute little one that was being raised. He was the child in the village.
Fascist.
Because he was an infant?
No, because he was getting the best treatment and not distributing the wealth.
What?
Not distributing the
I mean,
righteous
we
treatment.
could go back and do a play-by-play and we could count like the grains of feed that he's given as opposed to what everyone else gets.
I guarantee, dude.
But I feel like you can't be fascist if you didn't erect the system that benefits you.
Yeah.
Now that I've said that, hold on, because what some people might think that I just said is that just because you perpetuate the level to which you benefit from a system that you may or may not have created, that's not the correlation I'm making. I'm just saying Babe, as an outsider to the system that he is an unwitting participant in, can't be a fascist because he's a fucking pig. Okay? And he's living in a human environment that he has zero influence over, other than perhaps being naturally cute, and we're not going to fault a fucking pig. for that.
All right.
Right?
Fair.
Okay.
But Charlotte's Web, that pig is definitely a fascist.
Oh,
Rating the podcast.
Yeah.
Rating the
5 stars.
2.
What?
Rating the game is a dumb thing to do.
Why?
Because it's a port of games. It's a port of classic games. What do you want to do? Give Sonic a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10? No shit. Like, yeah, it's a good game with a great soundtrack. Or you can be edgy, I guess, and fucking talk some shit about it. Well, I mean, there's some downsides to it.
Let's be honest.
But
the rating only
rating is
it only matters if you think people are actually going out there and making decisions based on you.
I do not, especially when it comes to Sonic.
Yeah,
play Sonic though.
Yeah, play the fuck out of Sonic.
I don't care what port you play of it because they're all probably really good. But
yeah,
fucking play Sonic.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Disclaimer:
go watch a speedrun and then play Sonic.
Yeah, no, don't do that. Don't hurt your feelings.
What was it? 14 minutes is the world record for beating Sonic 1.
I think it was 13 and change.
That's wild.
That's disgusting.
But it's beautiful to watch.
It's cool.
He pauses a bunch like at certain times to like make sure he's getting his landing right, or her. I guess I didn't.
Yeah, whoever the fuck it is. Yeah, but I'm like, wow, that's some big brain shit,
dude. And like, it kind of messes up the flow of watching the video. I'd like to see a no pause speed run. No glitchless, no pause speed run. Because I didn't look up a glitch speed run. I made sure to look up a glitchless speed run.
Well, and I feel
because there's some games that are so fun to watch someone just play it so well.
Oh, see that I struggle with that because there's a lot of games. In fact, most of the games, like if we weren't doing this podcast, there would be no deviation from what is my current approach to like all of the games that I never got to play, because the reality is I'm very unlikely to go back and play most of them, and a lot of that is because I've done that with some, and I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna have the same power for me because I have to learn this game from the bottom up, and I've not played this game or this franchise most often, like at all, so I have to learn it from the ground up, and I'm like, I don't really want to invest that much time into this on tank controls, or some garbage variant of whatever, and so 9 out of 10 I'm gonna go and I'm gonna just watch somebody else play it. And usually a speed run. It depends on the game
and the type of speed run, because if I want to see the story, I want to watch you just do a long play of it.
Well, and depending on what kind of game and when it came out, I'll go back and I'll just find an edited YouTube video that's just all of the cutscenes stitched. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Those are I'll just watch the movie game.
I bet that's great with Max Payne 3. Not Max Payne 3. I mean, that's probably also great, but Mafia 3.
I watched you play some of the
Mafia 3. The best part about that game was the acting and the voiceovers and the dial. Like the gameplay was fun. I enjoyed that game. It caught a lot of heat for repetition and over shoulder shooting, it being just like another Rockstar game.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. It was the story kept you fucking in it. So I think I want to maybe watch that. Put that on our watch list for some evening.
Side note on this, just like the idea of story and its presentation. Yeah, you get a 2-3 sentence synopsis of the game. Sonic goes to West Island and
finds
cocaine.
Finds cocaine. Yeah, absolutely.
You can actually probably fit that pretty well into I guess really anything after 2 or 2 and after, because that's when you get Tails and his plane, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, Tornado is either his plane or Sonic's, and that's where I might be talking about adventure here.
Tornado sounds right.
Tornado, and then there's 2 plane names. Yeah, I know one of them is Tornado, but I bet that is it.
Yeah, just airdropping Sonic into a remote jungle nation island thing.
Dude,
he's like, I'm here for your fucking Chaos Emeralds. Like,
we got some of that crack rock around still. Yeah,
you guys gotta get that good,
Yeah, give him some of that shit. Get him out of here. I wish that it's you could do a whole nother episode talking about Sonichu too. Sonichu is the online comic, fan comic, where it's like Sonic and Pikachu. There was like a wild Pikachu that was around Sonic when he like did some speed off thing, and it turns Pikachu into this like cross. Like, he becomes like kind of like he gains the speed effect.
Yeah,
and it's by CWC Christian. What's his name? Christian something Chandler, something like that.
Yeah, I know who you're talking. CWC. Holy shit! Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Wow.
I guess we're referencing back to 4chan again. Here is, I think, how he was kind of discovered, or maybe just through like, whoops. And there's like, that's that video that I watched that was like an 8-hour documentary about
is that
lesson
him?
About he does a lesson about this guy and like his whole like.
Yeah, dude, I remember you watching that video for a minute.
Well, so the guy that covers Christian. Now Christina, now in prison.
Oh, the fuck! We're gonna have to take this chat offline. You gotta fill me in.
So the guy that covered this, he has just a bunch of different lecture videos on YouTube. I wish I could remember his name to credit him. But he's got two different. I think maybe those are just like an hour or 2 hour long lectures, or maybe they're a little longer. He has the one that's like a 12-hour lecture, 8-hour lecture on Mega Man lore from beginning to end.
Okay.
So this makes you talking about the Sonic shit really makes me want. Just the other night, I just about read a Sonic comic book. Like, it's like a recent release. Of like they're doing some new Sonic comic book series.
Have you read it?
I couldn't get very far into it.
No,
it was really just like all I can think of is Sonichu and just the weirdness of like, Sonichu is not just like a fan comic. She does some weird shit.
Is it?
And then she
like
comes back
Sonic
and like
shit?
retcons shit and like it's like weird furry sex shit because they even made it so that like there's like a weird time wormhole thing, so like all these like little like ones that were like just recently born can now be like 18, so they're like okay for like Sonichu or like Christian to like
gross.
It's
okay.
Yeah. And so I can't bleach that out of the brain when it comes to like trying to read this.
That's
Sonic
fair.
comic.
That's fair. Quick clarification for the listeners. When I made it sound like this was all very familiar, no. This is me learning about this.
I've got a video to show you, man.
Oh, man.
All right, let's go ahead and move on here to
go play Sonic, you fuckwits.
And Christian, Sonichu, all that shit comes from 4chan, comes from a specific page, B, random.
Speaking, of course.
So it's time to randomize.
Time to randomize. What a segue. Yeah. What a fucking
we're getting better and better at them.
Yeah, we really are. Practice does make perfect.
It's really, I hope it does. All right. So our randomizer has landed on totally non-affected, absolutely 100% naturally, Death Jr. and what is it?
Death Jr. and the Science Fair of Doom.
All right. That sounds so interesting.
I absolutely have played through this like 5 times.
Are you being serious right now?
No.
Okay.
I've never heard of this before.
I've never heard of this. It sounds like it's like a licensed game, but like something like I've never heard of. Like it was like a movie that got released that I didn't know got released type thing. Like a cheap kids movie.
It's something. I don't even I can't tell you anything about it.
Yeah, me neither. I'm excited to get into this.
I have no idea what we're up for.
Yeah,
this will be good. I like the random. This is it's about time, honestly.
Yeah, like it just truly it just feels it's like the most random game.
Yeah, I have to agree.
It's of all the DS lists that I have watched on YouTube and like done my research on, I'm always surprised by the amount of games that pop up that I've just not
just never even heard of.
Yeah,
not seen an ounce of art.
The DS was like all I played for like a year and a half at least. So it's just really wild to me of like how many things went past my radar.
Well, like, I mean, if I think back, look, I mean, at any point in time throughout my childhood, I was probably only ever really aware of as many as maybe 50 games per platform.
But I was a like teenager that was just like kind of like a basement dweller, and I had a DS with the R4 cartridge, so the entire library.
At what age?
At like 16 or 17.
Oh,
probably 17. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I was in high school when I got that.
Damn, that's cool.
And I was about that, man. I was only playing. I maybe played Counter-Strike on the computer, of course.
Yeah,
and then I was playing my DS.
Damn.
But like that DS was my main focus because my computer couldn't run shit, and I had maybe a GameCube. Well, I mean, this is the time. If you think about it, I mean, that had to be Xbox 360 was probably out by that point, or
at like 15, 16?
Yeah, I bet so.
Yeah, for sure. Like right around then.
Yeah, and so like
that year or the next. Or
I was never ever like caught up with the modern age of the gaming. My parents had no reason to buy a truant child a modern system. I mean,
I was gonna say I feel like most kids, but no, probably not. Especially not now. But I didn't become a quote unquote current gamer until an adult. I don't know when.
We covered it. We talked about it. I know we did. Yeah.
But I mean, now it's second nature. I'm like, oh, that game's coming out. I'm gonna play that, and I play that. So
I've reverted back to my younger stuff.
That's fair. Well, and even then, I don't play near as many new titles as I used to.
Yeah,
because I used to just pick them all up. It didn't matter.
I mean, there's been a drop off, right, in quality.
Of games?
Yeah, and not just quality.
I thought you were talking about of life. I'm like,
no,
yeah.
no, quality of games. And a lack of variety in gaming, too, I would argue.
Dude, we could, honest to God, have a whole episode where all we do is just bitch and reminisce.
Modern,
just talk shit about the current state of gaming.
I always want to stay positive.
Nobody does that.
Though. I'm sure there's good shit that we don't know about.
There is. But it's not the ones that you're going to see marketed. There's so many good indie games right now.
But there's so much to dig through. And then the indie thing always ends up becoming its own thing, too.
It's really
its own
separate.
Taste and genre. I don't want an indie game. I just want a AAA fucking blast. Like when we picked up and played Far Cry 5. Yeah. That was such a fun time.
That was so much fun.
And maybe that's not a good example of like something new in the gaming world.
I mean, it was a while ago, but even still, like it's.
But I mean, even like as far
zero
as,
new content in that.
Yeah,
game.
It's
a Far Cry. It's a modern Far Cry game.
Yeah, but there was something really fun about it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was super. I mean, I don't know. It took me back. I was like
Titanfall 2.
We could do a whole podcast just about Titanfall.
Yeah.
Oh. And never even discuss Apex.
Absolutely, yeah. I agree wholeheartedly. Dude. Apex is not.
I do like Apex,
feel, though. It's not the same feeling.
Yeah, well, but
I missed out on getting to play Titanfall 2 online. That looks like it was a blast.
You can still play it online.
I just thought people don't really play.
Yeah, it's definitely not as populated as it used to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Titanfall 2 multiplayer was. It was good shit, man. Yeah. I really wish that IP survived past like Apex in its original format.
It's that shit. We can get into it, that fucking.
I'm fine with both.
Makes you money. But yeah, give me something else while you got your product that's making you money. Right. Yeah,
make another subsidiary company, parent, sister, whatever.
All right, before we start becoming grumpy, bitchy old men.
Too late.
We're going to go ahead and sign out, and we wish you the fairest of nights, my fellow Death Reaper Junior children boys.
Yeah.